And then for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lydia Foster. Together with my husband, Andre, we've been in real estate since 2005 in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, here in Durbanville. About 3 years ago, our daughter also joined us, Shanae. So we talk, eat, sleep, property. And it's lovely to have you here this morning and share with you how ChatGPT can just make your journey so much easier. Let me give you over to Andre.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome everybody. Is my mic all right? Can I just have a thumbs up? Everything good? Thank you. Nice to see you all here today again. We always have some fun on this session, which is a bit of an intro, but right through to more advanced functionality of ChatGPT as well. Lydia has welcomed you and introduced ourselves for those who do not know. And again there, yes, my favorite saying, agents will not be replaced by technology. They will be replaced by other agents that use technology. This is very, very true. We're at a tipping point if we haven't passed it. If you're ignoring technology, you're going to be left behind. I actually have a bit of a chuckle, especially us older people. I'm late 50s. So we really need to, for the younger generation, this is second nature. Well, I'm sure you will learn something today as well if you ask some of the younger generation. But us older folks, we've got to keep with it, hey? Must remain relevant. Okay, so why do we do this training? Firstly, it started out, and it still is, to empower our own agents. As Lydia said, I think we have a large team within EXP of our own. So I'm always trying to stay up to date so that I can make their lives easier, so that they feel more confident and they're not overwhelmed by AI. And then in general, we just open it up to everybody because we've always believed in collaboration over competition and sharing. Since we started in real estate in 2005 in our industry here, we've always collaborated with everybody, and we were lucky to be welcomed with open arms when we started. So it's just a reciprocal thing, and what you give is what you will receive. So we believe in that. Anyway, so we help where we can, and I know you would do the same. Right, very importantly, ChatGPT is actually a very tough topic these days to talk about. So you must realize this does start very basic, although we do cover quite a bit of the advanced things as well, because we have a mixed skill levels on these webinars. And when you registered, you would have had to fill in whether you actually use ChatGPT or not. And by far the majority still that register for this specific webinar are beginners, and they do not use ChatGPT yet, or they use it very, very basically. So it's aimed at those people, but we'll take it through, and we do actually cover a lot of real world examples, as you see there. And we do go quite advanced in the end. Okay. So if you do use ChatGPT a lot, you might have to bear with us for the first couple of minutes, and then hopefully you'll learn something from there on. Okay. What I'm hoping that you will walk away with today, especially for the beginners who do not use ChatGPT, is that we will demystify ChatGPT for you, so that you will be able to use it every day with confidence. I want you to realize that using ChatGPT is not a funny techie thing that you have to learn. It is really just learning to chat naturally to ChatGPT. It's a natural conversation. It's like chatting with a smart friend. That's what I want you to see, and then we'll reveal its power after that. From the basic uses right through to where you use ChatGPT for brainstorming ideas and getting content created, and then a lot of more advanced uses when it comes to image creation and analysis and working with documents, and then voice and actually sharing your camera with ChatGPT. A whole lot of more advanced things we'll talk about later on. Okay, Lydia did touch on this. Please keep questions until after the presentation, otherwise we get sidetracked and then we don't actually get through the presentation, but questions will be welcome after the presentation. And again, please keep your mics on mute during the presentation. Right, and then afterwards we'll open up for a discussion, questions and answers, or what need be. If in the meantime you're scared you're going to forget your question, just put it in the chat box in the meantime. Okay, I always start this because, yes, we're talking tech, yes, we're talking AI, but be very, very sure that the heart of real estate is still people and relationships. It's always going to be, okay? But now the backbone of real estate is technology and systems, because technology and systems is what we can use to scale our businesses. But the point is, strong relationships, as I've got on that slide, they are what will create momentum in your business always. That's what matters most. But using technology will multiply it going forward and ensure that you remain relevant. Okay, so real estate is a very multifaceted business for sure. I see my camera's off. That's not very polite of me. I'll put it on again. Real estate is a very multifaceted business. We all know that. There's so much we have to know. People think it's an easy business. It's not. But nevertheless, if you want to break down what's really at the core sort of success, in my opinion, it's these three pillars. Firstly, again, personal relationships. Having personal relationships with people, creating trust and connecting with people, that is what matters most in our business. Then lead generation. So we also need, apart from the people you know, you need to generate new leads on a consistent basis, because the leads you generate today are what fuels tomorrow's business. So you need, that for business down the line. And then lead nurturing, very, very important, because it's one thing to have a lead and then never contact him in 5 years. You need to nurture that lead on an ongoing basis. Every single person you know, every person in your database, you need to nurture over years, because they might not be ready to transact in property now, but when they do sometime in the future, you must make sure that you've been sort of staying in contact in some formal manner, so that you will be top of mind when they want to transact in real estate, and you will be the first person they think of. Okay, golden rule with all of this, lead generation and lead nurturing especially, is to time block. Because if you don't have leads today, you will not have business tomorrow. You need to time block. It must be in your diary, certain days of the week, certain times. You put your phone off. It's like a doctor's appointment. Okay, that's it. You've got to do that. You've got to make sure you do it. There will always be enough time for the rest of the things that we run around with. Otherwise, we tend to get very, very busy and we don't do these important things. And a few months down the line, we find out we haven't got any business. Okay, now talking about nurturing leads, how do you stay top of mind with leads and people you know or people you don't know? If they're a lead, they're a lead. Firstly, personal touch. Obviously, your closest sphere of influence, people you really know well, you will be having calls with them and you'll have coffee dates with them and networking. You might even be next to the sport field watching your child. That's where you get to know people on a more personal level. But then you've got lots of other people, lots of other leads gathered from all over the place. Now, we're not chatting about lead generation, but I mean, you get leads from all over the place. From if you've got a website, from there. If you've got social media, from there. You might be cold calling. Whatever it may be, now you've got leads. Now, how do you stay top of mind with them? You've got to meet them where they are really, right? And where are people spending their time? They are online. We all know that. People are online with social media, email, WhatsApp. That's where they're spending 80% of their time. So that's where we've got to meet them, and that's where we've got to be visible to them to stay top of mind. So how do we do that? How do we reach them on these social media platforms, etc.? What do we put out there to stay top of mind? So this is where content marketing comes in, and the point of this is ChatGPT is going to help you a lot with this, amongst many other things. So content marketing is basically your secret weapon to stay top of mind with people. This could be content about various things. These are just a few examples. So like local news and events in your area, putting out content about that, educational tips about the buying process or the selling process, or just general tips about gardening or recipes or whatever, sort of a mix of all these types of things. Property showcasing, so when you've got listings for sale, they must also be put out there. People must know you're not just putting out educational tips, you are actually an active agent and you have properties that are for sale, and you might actually get a buyer from that. And then when they sold, yes, Go and brag about it. Go and brag about that you sold the property. Make sure it's visible, because you do also want to be seen as a successful agent. That's not all you want on your social media platforms and WhatsApp statuses and things, is properties and properties that are sold and for sale. You do want to mix, but they must definitely be there. And then personal posts. I'm a very firm believer of this. There are different schools of thought. Many people say they don't like people to know what's going on in their personal life, so they will just have a business account. I disagree. We've always believed we are in the relationship game. It's a people's business. People should know us so that they can connect with us and relate to us. So I believe a good mix of personal posts, in between your business posts and your educational tips and your properties is good, so people can actually see who you are in real life as well, and they will relate to you in that way. So the big thing, if you look at the bottom there, is people do business with those that they know and like and trust. We hear that often, but it's very true. And if you're putting out good content and a good mix of content, then that builds all three of those. Okay. Now, our biggest challenges, we'd say you've got to put out content. Now, what's our challenges? Firstly, we've got limited ideas. I mean, what type of content should we put out there? Secondly, creative blocks. Once you've thought of, okay, let's put this type of content, now you've actually got to create it. So we have a creative block. We're not all the creative types. And then the biggest problem always has been never enough time. We just don't have enough time. We are very busy, and it's true. People don't realize how busy real estate agents are if they want to be successful. So all those things are really problematic. But now, what if there was one solution that can solve all of this for us, which we had previously, so we wouldn't have created content? Now there's a solution. Artificial intelligence, right? This is pretty much what we're talking about today, ChatGPT. So artificial intelligence helps us to become smarter and work smarter instead of harder. So we're going to be looking at that basically today. Problem with just speaking about artificial intelligence, it's a very broad subject. And since it sort of suddenly came to the fore in the public's eye about 3 years ago or so with ChatGPT specifically, now suddenly when you scroll on your phone and everything, just AI is just everywhere. The word AI and artificial intelligence is everywhere. So where do you start? It's overwhelming, right? I mean, we see all sorts of stuff and everybody's saying you must use this AI and that, and now they're all selling their products which are AI driven. And so where do we actually start, and why, and how do we stop from feeling overwhelmed? Because the problem with us, especially estate agents, is if we're feeling overwhelmed by something new, then we'll rather just sort of move it aside and avoid it, and just carry on as we were, right? So this is why I always say my advice, if you're new to AI, and even if you're not, is just use ChatGPT. Okay, you might be a Google Gemini fan, then that's fine, then use that or whatever. They all do pretty much the same thing, and they're competing all the time. But my advice is, okay, use ChatGPT. It's simple, it's powerful, and it'll be advancing all the time, and it'll be adding new features all the time. So if you stick with one thing, you'll go a long way. Okay, now, what you need to know is how easy it is. If you can use WhatsApp, you can also use ChatGPT. It's as easy as that, right? You've got WhatsApp, you chat to a friend, send them a message, they send something back, you get into a conversation, you start debating things, you're discussing things. That's exactly how you will be chatting to ChatGPT. It's exactly like chatting to a friend. The difference with ChatGPT is it's a very intelligent friend, and it can be any type of person on the day that you need, whether it's a personal assistant or a marketing expert or whatever you need. Okay, it can even probably act as your psychologist. It can actually, but yeah, it's not too bad. So this is a nice definition that basically, which I like. So it describes ChatGPT. So I say, imagine your funniest and smartest friend who's always available, knows almost everything on the internet, can explain things in a way that makes sense, and magically turns your rough ideas into polished content. Congratulations, you've met ChatGPT. So how does ChatGPT differ from what we were traditionally used to when we used to Google things if you wanted to know stuff? The difference was Google gave you links, right? You ask for information on a certain topic, it gives you a whole link. So it'll be something, I mean, it could be a website that somebody has put on with something on there, and Google thinks it may be relevant, and it's 10 of those. So you've got to go into the websites and filter through and find whether one of them are really what you were looking for, etc. ChatGPT now does that for you. So it basically goes and scours the whole internet and its database and everything, and it comes back, and based on what you asked, specifically on what you asked, it comes back with more specific answers and educated answers. Okay, and ChatGPT can give you lots of creative ideas, which you'll see today. It'll reason with you. You can brainstorm with it. We're going to go through a lot of these things today. So we're really covering a lot of ground today. You've got to bear with me. I'm not going to stick too long on any one thing. I'm trying to show you mainly, firstly, that you can chat to ChatGPT back and forth. It's very easy. Secondly, a couple of use cases so you can really see in how many ways you can use it. And then from there on, you can play with it, and you will become very proficient very, very quickly. Right. What you must know about ChatGPT, There's a free version, so you can go right now, you register for ChatGPT, and there's a paid version. But pretty much almost everything I show you, at the end, there's a couple of things that are only on the paid version, but pretty much everything I show you is available on the free version for you to use. The only difference is some other things which use a lot of ChatGPT's resources, especially when you're creating images or things like that, things that are very resource intensive. Many of those things, or if you just use it a lot on one day, then it'll cap you. Then at some point it'll say, okay, now that's enough for now. You'll have to wait 3 hours and then you can go again. So that's the difference. But you can go a long way on the free version and use it. And then if you really see it's helping you, which it should, you can go to the paid version. So I'm on the paid version, which is it's about 400 Rand a month or just under. I know they've actually got an intermittent plan right now. I don't know what which will probably give you sort of somewhere in between, which is good, which is only 150 Rand. I think it's called ChatGPT Go. So maybe that would also be worth it if you see you running out of sort of, you're getting kept often. Okay. Again, you've got to make sure you're in the right place. Make sure you're actually using ChatGPT and not some sort of ripoff. So on the internet, you would go to www.chatgpt.com. Simple as that. On your mobile app, you also have to make sure whether it's on Apple on the Play Store, whether it's on your Android Play Store or the Apple Store, you need to make sure you get the correct app. Because if you go and search ChatGPT, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of apps, lots of ripoffs as well. So what you need to do is whenever you find the ChatGPT app, just make sure that it is created by OpenAI. That's the original. Those are the people who created ChatGPT. So if it's created by OpenAI, you've got the correct app. When you're on the website, pretty much first time you're on, you would sign up with your email address and the password, and then from there on, you would log in. And you will use those same login details, whether you're on a laptop or a PC on the internet, or whether you're actually using the app on your phone. Okay, when you're logged in, this is pretty much what it looks like. This is a very, very old screenshot, but it still pretty much looks like that. So the blue writing is just my notes for you. So this little blue arrow which says prompt over there, that's like a text box. So that is where you type in what you're asking ChatGPT. You're prompting it for answers. Okay, and you're going to hear a lot about the prompt. And people always tell you, everything is about the prompt. What you put in is what you get out, and all sorts of things. But they're actually trying to sell you books of prompts for real estate agents and things like that, because you're too stupid to chat to ChatGPT. But today you're going to see you don't need those people. You can do it on your own. Okay. And on your left, as you've been chatting to ChatGPT one day after the other and one chat after the other, you will have a chat history on the left-hand side. So you can go and refer back to it, any chat that you've had. You can even search chats by keyword, etc. Okay, that's just a quick layout. So a few tips to start off. You must always verify facts. If you're getting content from ChatGPT that you're going to use for yourself, for creating content to put on social media or whatever, make sure the facts are correct. Always protect sensitive data. So don't go copy and paste things with people's email addresses and so on in there. Remember the Copy Act. So still be aware of that. Back your content and add your personal touch. So once you get stuff back from ChatGPT, make sure it sounds like you, add your personal touch, etc. Although ChatGPT gets very clever at knowing you after a while. All right. As I said, you often hear people telling you it's all about the prompt. So you're using ChatGPT, but wait a bit. If you're a real estate agent, for instance, I've got a beautiful book of prompts. It's got 1,000 prompts in that can do anything for you, and it costs you $50 and things like that. So they'll tell you it's all about the prompt, and it is. The better your prompt, the better the result. But what I'm going to show you is that you'll get there anyway, and eventually you'll get better. But as Tony Robbins says, as you see there on the screen, complexity is the enemy of execution. So don't think it's difficult and then don't do it. I'll show you today. We're going to start off so simple, and then we'll progress and go back and forth if we don't get the right answers. Okay, practice makes perfect. And then after a while, you will see that your prompts will just get better. You'll soon learn to be, from the word go, you'll learn to be clearer and more specific and provide better context and define the format you want, etc., so that the answer you get is immediately what you were actually looking for. But again, don't worry about that now. We're going to get there. Okay, I'm going to get off this and go into a live chat quickly. we go. Let me just make sure everything is zoomed correctly and so forth and so on. All right. So my point here, I'm really just going to start basically is just so you can see you chatting to a friend for a start. Okay. I mean, for all you newbies. So let's just start. Remember now, ChatGPT does know me already. If you go on for the first time, he won't know you. So ChatGPT might actually speak to me in real estate terms and things like that because ChatGPT knows me by now. But don't worry about that. But anyway, let's just say, hi, ChatGPT, how are you today? Just a nice, friendly chat, like you were chatting to a friend. And there you see it comes back. Hi, Andre, I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. And even better now that you've popped in. How's your day shaping up on your side? And I can say anything like, let's just say, still trying to wake up. Nice casual chat with your friend. I'm just showing you it's really just a conversation. So ChatGPT says, oh, I hear you. That brain boot up phase can take a while. Have you got coffee in hand yet, or are you still running on optimism and muscle memory? Give me a shout when the caffeine kicks in and we'll get things moving. And so, okay, let's just say, I'll ask ChatGPT, have you had coffee yet? Here we go. Have you had coffee yet, ChatGPT? Haha, sadly, no. I'm permanently stuck in alert but caffeine-free mode. Think of me as that annoying friend who's always awake and ready to chat even before the first cup. Okay, good sense of humor, nice chat. You can really chat about anything. And from here, you can go anywhere with a conversation. You can be talking about what you're going to eat tonight, what suggestions you have, what food you got in the fridge and what can you make with it. You can go anywhere. Your son's problems at school or tasks you've got to do, anything. And then real estate related, obviously. Okay, let's do a quick sort of real estate related. Now I've actually got things here that I'm going to copy so you don't have to watch me. I've just done it beforehand. So I'll go into a new chat at the left there. And I'm going to go a bit real estate related, just so you can see. We're not going to delve right in because we're going to cover a lot today. Okay. So now we say, okay, let's get to business. Say to ChatGPT, I'm a real estate agent and I want to improve my business and my visibility by creating regular content that I can share on my social media platforms. Can you help me? So that's vague. I haven't asked for any specific content. I've just said, this is what I want to do. And can you help me? And then let's see what ChatGPT comes up with today. Absolutely, yes, I can help in a very practical, repeatable way. You're asking exactly the right question because consistency and clarity beat clever content every time. Okay, let's break this down. Firstly, what actually grows visibility? You don't need viral content, you need familiar content. Your goal is to be recognized, to be trusted, to be top of mind, as we said earlier, when someone thinks maybe we should sell. Okay, and so it carries on. So now it tells you, okay, firstly, you would have to choose the right platforms that are suitable to you. Could be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Use a simple framework. It says I recommend 4 core pillars of content. Firstly, this is a lot like we spoke earlier as well. Homeowner education, content about that. Local area content, so about the area you work in. We actually mentioned that as well. Behind the scenes and human content, as I said, a bit of personal stuff so people get to know you as a person, and then proof and credibility. There we go. Examples of, for instance, recently sold and testimonials, etc. So here it's giving you an idea of types of content, right? Then it says, how should you post? How many times a week? This is just all suggestions. So this is not the content you're going to post, but it's giving you a whole lot of ideas. And here it already comes up with a couple of examples, etc. We're not going to get stuck on this. Okay. But this is pretty much, we'll have a look at 1 and 2. But from here now, you can take just this and you can go down. You said, great. Okay, I like those 4 pillars. I want to create a mix of content of all those. Let's create a full month's calendar or 2 months calendar of a mix of those. And then you say, right, now give me ideas for posts like that. And what should we do? And what images should we use with those posts? You just carry on. And ChatGPT will actually always end off with a question to sort of get you in the next right direction. Here it actually says, after all this, if you'd like, we can define your target market, choose your main platforms, and then build a 30-day content plan with topics and hooks and captions. So, I mean, you could actually just follow its lead as well. And you would be well on your way to creating good content. Okay, but that's not all we're looking at today, so we will not go right into that all the way now. I want to carry on now. I'll just go back to the slideshow for the moment. From current slide, there we go. The point that you need to know now is that you will be using ChatGPT to create unlimited content of all types, whether it be agent biographies, listing descriptions, newsletters, YouTube scripts, all sorts of social media posts, newsletters for your email database, prospecting scripts, etc. We're going to go right through that, and then just look at the one in the middle, sort of the email and WhatsApp responses and client communication. This is lead generation at a next level. We'll touch on that later on. When you're communicating with people, the way you communicate with them very professionally, if ChatGPT just helps you to format things in a good way, you will stand out for years to come. Okay, but we'll look at that as well. And then we're going to be looking at very many advanced uses like analyzing documents, analyzing images, creating images, and a lot more than that we'll touch on later on. Okay. I'm going to do a quick, this is a game. So it's firstly to show you that you can do an agent biography and what it should look like. It's secondly, again, to show you that if you don't get it right the first time, it's going to be a back and forth, and you'll get it right. Okay. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. Just start. So let's just say, I say to ChatGPT, please help me to create a professional and engaging biography that I can use to promote myself on online platforms and social media. There's not much detail in that. Before I start, actually, what I should tell you is this. How important is it to create a good biography or a write-up about yourself? This is the thing many agents actually neglect. Okay, so what happens usually is you start out in real estate and you join a company, or even later you maybe switch companies. And then at that new company as well, it's the same as when you start out. They say, oh, okay, just tell us a bit about yourself because we want to put something on the website. And then you say the usual, okay, I've got my matric and I've got a diploma in marketing and I did a bit of sales at some other company and I love people. I love people. I have a passion for people and I'm honest and I'm integrity and all that. And then they go and they write all that for you. Great. And it's just like everyone usually says pretty much the same thing. All right. And what happens now is that goes onto the company website most likely. It often feeds through as your profile on Property 24. You maybe even put it on your Facebook. And the thing is, when we were all in a hurry because we really want to get started with this new career or at this new company, let's just get this out. And then that ends up sitting on the internet and all over the place for years to come. And whenever your seller is thinking, especially these days, they're stalking you. Okay, whenever they're thinking of selling their house, they look at 5 agents. They might even get 5 agents to do valuations. And all things being equal, they think, okay, now what? Let's go and see what they look like online. And then if one just looks like the other and you stand out, then that could be the deciding factor. Anyway, so we do really need to just put a little bit of effort in. Let's have a look at this. So I say, please help me to create a professional and engaging biography that I can use to promote myself on online platforms. So I haven't told it anything about myself. The ChatGPT will aim to please, knowing that I'm a real estate agent. So it's going to create a biography for me as a real estate agent, but it's going to be generic, right? Not specific to me. And there you can see it says almost the things, but at least it writes it nicely and it's attractive. It says I'm passionate about connecting people with their perfect homes. I'm a dedicated real estate professional with exceptional service and results. And it's beautifully written. So I could actually probably take that and it'll be better than most people's biographies and just put my name in there and so on. But obviously that's not what I want. So now I realize, as I said, remember, if you don't get it right the first time, you realize, okay, that prompt up top there, it was a bit vague, stupid me. So let's give ChatGPT some more detail. So I said, oh, okay, great, thank you. Could we make that a bit more personal for me specifically and incorporate the following? Now I'll give it some detail about me. Not nicely written, just facts. So I'll give it the facts and it'll write it nicely. My name is Andre Foster. I've been a real estate agent in Durbanville, in the northern suburbs of Cape Town since 2005. I'm married to my lovely wife, Lydia, and we have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. I love living in Durbanville. Always got to say that so your clients know you really love the area. Anyway, I have a degree in accounting. I specialize in residential property. I believe in honesty and integrity. I have extensive digital marketing background. And then I say just to sort of get the format right, whatever I want to say. But in this case, please keep it under 500 words. Okay. Now it'll take those facts and go and write it nicely. Now look at how well it does this. Because it'll take many of the facts I gave it, even if it's a degree in accounting, and it'll turn it into sort of something real estate related. But let's have a look. So my name is Andre Forster. I've proudly been a real estate agent in Durbanville, part of Cape Town's beautiful northern suburbs, that it said itself, right? Since 2005. Over the years, I've had the privilege of helping countless families buy and sell homes, always guided by the principles I value most: honesty, integrity, and professional. I just said I'm married with 2 kids, etc. It makes it all nice. It says I'm married to my lovely wife, Lydia, and together we have 4 amazing children, 2 boys and 2 girls, who keep our lives full of energy and joy. I just said I love living in Durbanville, and it goes and says, Durbanville has been more than just a home for us. It's where we've built our family and our friendships and our careers. I truly love living here, and I believe it's one of the most special places in the Western Cape to call home. Now look at how it takes where I just said I've got a degree in accounting, which pretty much actually probably hasn't got nothing to do with real estate. But nevertheless, it says I hold a degree in accounting, which provides a solid financial background when advising clients on one of the most important investments they'll ever make. Then I said I've got a digital marketing background. It says, in addition to my real estate experience, I also have extensive background in digital marketing, allowing me to market properties strategically, maximize exposure, and reach the right audience. So you see how it takes things. I'm not going to go through the whole lot. And now it makes it nice. So this is already now very, very attractive, right? Much better than most people would write theirs, and much better than I could have written it, although it's still absolutely factual. Now, again, I'm just going to show you a bit of back and forth, changing things, changing formats, speaking to ChatGPT like your personal assistant, like your friend. If you don't like what you get, change it. And I'm just going to make it completely way out. And I say to ChatGPT, okay, so just for fun, can you please make all that more humorous and make it shorter? Okay, less than 200 words. All I'm proving here is how you can chop and change quick with ChatGPT. Okay. So I want it to be humorous, and I want it in less than 250 words. The same content. Look what happens. I mean, it takes seconds for ChatGPT to do this. Now it makes it all funny. Now look at this. Now it says, I'm married to Lydia, who's the brains and the beauty of this operation. And we have 4 kids. Yes, 4. So believe me, I know how to negotiate and mediate and survive chaos without losing my cool or my car keys. Then it says, I've been a real estate agent in Durbanville since 2005, back when interest rates were wild and TikTok was just the sound that a clock made. I've got a degree in accounting, which means I understand words like amortization, but mostly I use my powers to explain transfer costs without making clients cry. Then it also says I have a background in digital marketing because I like sold signs. I don't just list homes, I launch them like Beyonce drops an album. And so it carries on. I believe in honesty. I'm honest even when the avocado tiles are not vintage chic and that bright purple feature wall is more crime scene than creative. And so it carries on. So just proving a point. I won't use that. Maybe you do want to use a humorous one if that's you. But again, just proving a point, back and forth, okay? So thinking about it now, let's just say this was the result I wanted. I did get there eventually. So let's say I did want this humorous one. Now I know. Okay, actually, at that first prompt where I just said, firstly just said, do me a biography. Then I've got a really generic one. Then I said, okay, I'm Andre and I've got accounting and I've got all these things, details. Then I got a much better one. And then I said, okay, make it funny. So actually, I could have done that from the start. I could have said, I want a biography. I'm Andre. I have a wife. I have kids. I have this. I have that. I have that. I want a biography and I want you to write it humorously. Then I would have got this immediately. That's all. The only point I'm proving that is you will get there. So don't be afraid of this. Make it a back and forth. And as you gain experience, you will be gaining, sort of become more proficient at getting answers quicker. Okay. So that was that. Now, if you don't know where to start, almost with anything that you want, okay? If you're not sure where to start or what to do or what to give ChatGPT or what to ask ChatGPT what you should ask ChatGPT in order to get what it is that you want. That sounds very, very weird. But anyway, look at this now, just for the biography example. So you think, okay, I don't know what to tell Chat. I haven't got time for this. Okay, let me ask ChatGPT. So I say, I'm a real estate agent in South Africa. I want to create a biography to use on online platforms and social media. Now I say to ChatGPT, it's for you. Have we got any sound going here? Someone's not muted. this is what I want to do. Please will you ask me any questions that you need answered so that you can create a professional and engaging biography for me. So now, I didn't know what info I should give ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very clever, quickly goes out there, goes and looks at what the best types of biographies look like in the industry, and formats a sort of an idea of what your biography should look like. And now it'll ask you questions which you will answer, and it'll create the perfect biography personalized for you. So this is what ChatGPT then says. Fantastic. I'd love to help you craft a digital professional biography. Here are some questions that will help me create a biography that's really you and professional and personal and attention grabbing. Now you just answer the questions. So it asks, you're going to answer. It'll ask you, what is your full name? Where are you based? How long have you been in real estate? Which areas or types of property do you specialize in? Is it residential or luxury or developments, commercial, whatever? Do you work independently or as a team, or are you part of a brand such as EXP Realty or Pam Golding or SEEF or Remax, not to leave you guys out? Then it says, do you have any education or background that you'd like to include, such as degrees or certificates? And so it carries on. And then it goes more into the personal stuff. What do you want to mention on a personal note? How would you describe things? It asks you a whole lot of questions. You just answer these questions, and then it'll create the perfect biography for you. Okay. So as it says at the end, once I have your answers, I'll draft a version or two, depending on what you prefer. So then again, you can go back and forth, but you've immediately got to the point. And you can use this when you're doing almost anything with ChatGPT, if you don't know where to start. Okay, listing descriptions, pretty much an old topic, but still, if you're first on here, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but obviously ChatGPT can help you to create very good listing descriptions. So you could say, please write a description for my 4-bedroom home in Belmont Park. I'm not going to go there. Again, that's very vague. So that was the whole idea. And it still creates a beautiful description for me, but it's obviously generic because it doesn't really know what my property offers. So I'm not going to go into that. That is there. Then I say, okay, let's add some more information. Then it will obviously tweak it and make it more specific to my property. And so it carries on. So you can go on and on and on, or you could just write the whole listing description the way you would and then put it into ChatGPT and ask it to have a look whether it sounds okay, and it'll make a lot of good suggestions. Well, otherwise, you go the same route as we did just now and ask questions. So this you could actually use for every single listing description if you wanted. You could simply say to ChatGPT, please ask me a series of questions to gather the necessary information about any specific listing so that you would be able to create a compelling but accurate listing description of approximately 400 words. That you could also change, obviously. 700 words. Someone's not muted. I'll just have a look quickly. There. I'm just going to, sorry people, just going to mute Hendrik. Okay, he's muted. Thank you. Right. People, we need to keep muted, please. Please, 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 please. Okay, another one muted. Here's someone else. Geez, suddenly everybody's unmuting themselves. All right, sorry people. Right, there we go, back there. So please ask me a series of questions so that you can create a listing description for me. And there it goes. It's going to start off. It's going to say, great, here's a series of structured questions, because ChatGPT will go out there and decide what are the most successful listing descriptions out there. Look at how they compiled, and then it'll come back and ask you questions so that it can compile the perfect listing description for you. So it's going to ask you a lot of questions. Obviously, basic information and details, how many bedrooms and bathrooms, etc. The general layout. Anyway, you answer all these questions. Are there standard living areas? Is there study and so on? Outdoor features, parking and security, special highlights, location, about the area, etc. All of that. Okay, so we're not going to drill down, but you answer all those questions and it'll provide you with a great listing description. And again, if you're not happy, you can just ask it to tweak certain things. But goes so much quicker. This takes you minutes now, where previously it would take you hours, and it might not even be that attractive, especially for me. I'm not a very good writer, so this helps me a tremendous amount. Okay, the point you need to see again, because as I said, we're going to be moving fast because we've got a lot to cover. I want to cover a lot of bases so you can just get your head around how you can use ChatGPT. So again, I mean, you can use ChatGPT to transform content for different purposes and audience. Whatever ChatGPT gives back to you, you can ask it to change the format. So either rewrite it in more or fewer words, as you've already seen in one of the examples. Convert it to a numbered list of bullets. Okay, convert it. I want it in a different format. Transform it into a table format. We'll see that later on. Translate to different languages. ChatGPT is the best language translator by far. Okay, the old Google Translate, ChatGPT is so much better because it's got millions and millions of users asking for things every single day. So it's learning itself all the time. It's by far the best translator. Looking at the right there, targeting different audiences. So you can ask it to, whatever it gives you, you can say, oh, that's very technical. Just simplify it for first-time buyers or for whoever, or elevate that. I don't know, it's a bit plain. This is now for real luxury clients. Make it sound like that. Adapt it for different age groups. Take something technical and ask ChatGPT to write it so that a 5-year-old child would understand it. You'll be amazed how you see it, and your 5-year-old child will understand it. So often when you're trying to explain things to your sellers or your buyers, maybe you could even just ask ChatGPT to write it so that a 5-year-old child would understand it. Sorry to the sellers and buyers, that was just a bit of tongue in cheek. I'm not serious. Okay, rewrite in a different tone. You've seen how I said, oh, I like my biography, but why don't you write it more humorous? And these in this table, this is my ideas. It's not an instruction book, but I mean, you could say rewrite it in a more light-hearted fashion, or make it more conversational, serious, friendly, make it more humorous, compelling, relaxed, informative, whatever. Make it more professional, make it more creative, make it more luxurious. So whatever it gives back to you, often you'll get very highly written thing, and you think, no, but people are going to think, who wrote this when I put this out there? You say, just make it more casual, make it more relaxed, so that it really just sounds like me in everyday life, whatever. Okay, so the main thing is you can just adapt things with ChatGPT in an amazing way. So social media posts, again, I'm not going to go into this. I just want to give you 1 or 2 examples just to show you how powerful ChatGPT is. So this I've got here is not what we're asking. This is just from earlier where we said we're real estate agents and we want ChatGPT to help us, with social media. Then it gave us a whole lot of ideas. And as you drill down there and say, yes, let's do a full content plan and so on, then it'll give you more specific ideas and more specific ideas. Then eventually say, okay, I like that. Let's create those posts, please. For instance, okay. So let's just say now I ask ChatGPT, please write 20 Facebook posts aimed at homeowners thinking of selling. Also add an image idea. So I also want an image. What type of image can I use with the post? So nothing specific. ChatGPT will think, okay, what's he wanting? He wants something that's aimed at homeowners thinking of selling. Okay, great. It's going to write 20 posts for you. Let's have a look. Just quickly, absolutely, Andre, it says here are 20 warm, informative Facebook posts aimed at homeowners who are thinking of selling, with matching image suggestions. These are designed to build trust and offer value and gently nudge potential sellers towards action. Okay, each post balances education and reassurance and your local expertise. So post number 1, I'm not going to go through these, it's just to show you. Post number 1 would be a post you put out there with an image, and it says, thinking of selling, here's where to start. If you're thinking about selling and not sure where to begin, you're not alone. The first step is understanding your home's current value, and so it carries on. And obviously, there's a call to action. Contact us if you need an evaluation and so forth. Post number 2, is it a good time to sell in Durbanville? And it says whatever it says. Post number 3, should you renovate before selling? If you're thinking of fixing up your home before listing, you don't always need big renovations, often minor touches like a fresh coat, etc. We can give you honest advice, call to action. So you see, I mean, you just asked a very simple question of 20 posts, and it's really come up with good stuff. Okay, and this is still the simple stuff. Okay, what does market ready mean? What most sellers wish they knew earlier, and so on and so forth. Right, now, again, I'm just proving points here. But now I think I actually like all that content, great stuff. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to post those. Maybe you decided with ChatGPT that these specific posts you're going to post every Tuesday or something like that. Great. But now I don't want to go back to my ChatGPT and go and find this whole chat every Tuesday for 20 weeks going forward. So I think now, I mean, to find the post so that I can copy it and paste it, I also don't want to manually go and copy and paste it. So I say to ChatGPT, this is now reformatting, right? In a format that I want. So can you put those 20 posts in a table with various columns? Column 1 is for the heading. Column 2 is for the content of the post. Column 3 is the call to action. And then column 4 is the image idea. In other words, what ChatGPT suggested, what image would go well with that post. So I want it all in table format. Takes 2 seconds, and there we go. Column 1 is the heading, column 2 is the post content, call to action, image idea. And there are all the 20 posts going down, 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 down. So now this is nice, but still, okay, it's in a nice format. I can easily see it, and I know exactly what's going on, but it's still actually on ChatGPT, on my chat, okay? So I think, okay, that doesn't help me much yet. So I say, okay, now I wonder, ChatGPT, can you possibly create an Excel file for me that I can download? Takes a few seconds, and then ChatGPT says, sure, here's your downloadable Excel file with all 20 Facebook posts. You simply click on there, download the file, and now everything, all that, the whole table that was on ChatGPT is now on your computer on an Excel file, like that. Great. This you can save every Tuesday or whenever you decided. You just quickly open that Excel file, oops, copy and paste, and off you go. Okay. Go and find an image that can work with it. As you're going to see later, that you don't even have to do anymore either. You would just simply ask ChatGPT to create an image for you. Okay, but we'll get there. Now, just to prove a point again, that was an Excel file. Maybe I don't like Excel. And I'll say, please put the table in a Microsoft Word document that I can download. Same thing. Sure, here's your Word document. Click on the click, blah, blah, blah. Downloads to your computer, and there it is. Okay, we're just proving points at this moment, but at least also bringing some real estate into it. All right. Now, another idea, let's just say, now you use ChatGPT to create a listing description. Now you say to ChatGPT, okay, well, let's make use of this listing description at least to get some traction also on social media. You don't want to, otherwise these are things we do in such a hurry, and we could have done it better. So I'll just say to ChatGPT, okay, I'm going to give you my listing description. From that, please create 2 versions of a Facebook post so I can put out at different times and they don't look the same. 2 Instagram posts, an email that I can send to my buyer database, and then 1 sold post, just because I know I'm going to sell it quickly. Okay. And then, okay, that's also guided me with image suggestions. It was very, very stupid because this is a listing. It's got its own images. Okay, so sorry, that was a stupid suggestion from my side. Nevertheless, so let's see. Now, I said I'm going to give it my listing description, but I haven't. So immediately ChatGPT says, perfect, Andre, please go ahead and share the listing description with me. And then I'll create all the content exactly as you mentioned. And then it just says, this is what I'll create. Just give me the listing description. Okay, so I quickly do copy and paste my listing description in there. And it says, thanks. Now it creates 2 Facebook posts. And just have a look at this. I just asked for 2 Facebook posts. It decides for itself, okay, they must look different. So it says Facebook post number 1 is feature focused. So you can read through that, but the main thing is it's going to be really concentrating on what the property offers, right? What the property has. It says Facebook post number 2 is going to be lifestyle focused, more about where it is, in this case, in a state and, blah, blah, blah. Okay, lifestyle and how comfortable the home is, etc. Not so much on features. Instagram post, same thing, is going to give you 2. And what's interesting here, I asked for Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, one can get posts and just post them everywhere. But I just did this for interest's sake, because you'll see ChatGPT will discern between different social media platforms, because it knows that the general demographic of platforms differs. So Instagram would be slightly different language, maybe more emojis and hashtags, etc. Just as an interest. Okay. Anyway, 2 Instagram posts. Lovely buyer email, because what we usually do, I think, oh, flip, okay, let's send this to my database. We're in a hurry. I mean, we've got lots of stuff to do. So we quickly create an email. Hello, everybody. I've got a new listing in Sonstroll for 2 million Rand. Here's the link. Click on it, etc. But with ChatGPT, it's nice. It will just create a more complete email within seconds. So you don't have to do it. And now it just looks so much more professional. A little bit of a summary of the property and a link, etc. Okay. Don't want to hop too much. As we said, you can use ChatGPT for any type of content, all right? So start letting it go. And if you don't know what type of content, you, again, revert back to that sort of original type of post of, listen, I really want to get my name out there. What can I do? And ChatGPT will start leading you into what you can do and what you can create. All right. Here's just a few more content ideas. These are mine. I mean, these are just ideas. There's thousands, and ChatGPT will give you these ideas. For instance, give me 50 topics for content that homeowners will find valuable. Give me 20 post ideas that showcase my town as an ideal place to live. Educational, 10 reasons why sellers must use a real estate agent. You can make that 100 reasons why sellers must use a real estate agent. Problem solving. Help me write an article about the most common mistakes sellers make. Create an email newsletter, etc. Okay, the possibilities are endless. I'm just want to get your sort of the creative juices flowing a little bit. Right, now we're going to go start looking at a little bit more advanced. So we've basically up to now we've spoken about content. I'm talking about text content, right? It's all text-based really. And up to not too long ago, that was all that ChatGPT really was. It would give you a whole lot of content, writing. Now we're going to move on to more advanced functionality, and this is improving all the time. So we can see we can actually create images, we can put in images and analyze them, change them, analyze laws, etc., PDF documents, create professional emails, and much, much more. Okay, we're going to look at a lot of this right now. So firstly, I'm going to look at using ChatGPT to read and analyze images and documents. So this really can make you so productive and just also, yeah, let's look at a few examples. So firstly, I was going to show you again, when you're in ChatGPT, there where the prompt box was, whether it's now on your phone or on your PC, there's also a little plus button. That tends to change, sometimes differs, but it's there. So when you click on that, you would actually be able to upload anything onto ChatGPT. So there you would be able to upload a photo from your phone or from your PC. You'd be able to upload a file, a PDF, a Word, anything you can think of onto ChatGPT, and then you can ask questions about that. Okay, so that's the basis of that. So let's look at analyzing images. I'm saying analyzing, but just using ChatGPT to do something for you based on an image. Let's say you're doing listing descriptions and you're at a house. This is a very simple example, and you want to know what type of window this is, because when you're speaking to buyers later, you'd like to mention them correctly. Even in your valuation report to the seller, maybe it will be good to be more specific about what the house has, whatever. But now you don't know what that is. Usually doesn't help asking sellers what things are in their house, because they have their own little names for stuff. Okay, so I take a photo of the windows. Just while you're busy with your listing description, even if it was from afar, you can zoom in later, whatever. And I just upload it to ChatGPT, and then I say, what's the correct name for these windows? Very simple, and it gives me the whole breakdown. These are called sash windows, double hung sash windows, etc. Tells you what they could be made of, etc., etc. Now you're getting clever, okay? Now you've got the information, and now when you go back to that house, whoever you're there with, you start talking sense, and you just look like the expert, which is great. You are the expert, now you just look more like the expert. Just another example, this is a funny little knobbly ceiling. If I ask my seller what that is, maybe he'll just say, yeah, that's a I don't know, a Tuscan knobbly ceiling or something. He has his own name for it. Doesn't help. Right, so I will go, but buyers are going to ask, oh, good grief, what type of ceiling is this? So I simply put that in, what type of ceiling is this? ChatGPT tells me this ceiling is known as a popcorn ceiling. It's also known as an acoustic ceiling or a cottage cheese ceiling. It tells me when it was popular in the 1950s to 80s, sort of how it's made, etc., etc., etc. Now, at the start, with things like this, I would actually now go and Google popcorn ceiling in the images, Google Images, because then suddenly, if I do Google popcorn ceiling, then a whole lot of images similar to this pop up, and I know, it is a popcorn ceiling. Can you believe it? But I couldn't ask Google that, because I couldn't upload my photo into Google to say what type of ceiling is this. Okay, but I don't do that anymore, because ChatGPT just tends to always be right, I have found. Anyway, there's another one. Younger viewers might not know what that floor is when they go into a house, so you simply take a photo and you ask what type, and it says this is a parquet floor. It consists of wooden tiles, etc., etc. Tells you when it was popular. And even I learned that, yes, you get different variations, such as herringbone designs and block designs and things like that. But again, you get the facts right, so that when you go to the property, you sound like the professional. Even on plants, I mean, this was quite amazing. We had to do evaluation, Lydia and I, for a farm outside Durbanville. We had never been to the farm. We had never met the owner. So it was just, he called us, said he wants a bed. As we were driving into the farm, there were rows and rows of these orchards of trees like this. Obviously, I was driving. Lydia was busy on her phone, as a good agent is. So she was just looking down. And I said to Lydia, good grief, look at all these trees left and right. And what are they? And she quickly glances up, one glance left, one glance right. She glances down at her phone and she says, they're guava trees. I thought, yeah, okay. Luckily, she's looking at her phone because, of course, I rolled my eyes. Anyway, as I got out the car, I quickly snapped, without her seeing, I'd hardly exited, and I quickly snapped a photo of the guava trees, put them into ChatGPT. I was really in a hurry, so I couldn't ask a long question. I simply said, what is this? And immediately ChatGPT said the trees in the image appear to be guava trees, etc., etc. Tells you how you can identify them, gave me the scientific name as well. Afterwards, I told Lydia, well, you didn't know the scientific name, or you didn't tell me the scientific name, and she said, but you didn't ask. Anyway, it all worked very well, and they were guava trees. And when the seller came, he was a few minutes later. When he arrived, I actually popped to him and I said, hello, Mr. Seller, you lovely guava orchards you have here. Took a bit of credit for verifying. Okay, take a look at this. Remember, we're just talking about uploading things onto ChatGPT. This is uploading a photo again. Imagine this is just a very simple example. You're busy doing a listing or whatever, and you're just taking notes because, as a good agent would, you are going to later go and populate your CRM with all sorts of details so that you don't forget anything about these people for when you keep contact later on, etc. So I wrote there, okay, Jenny is the owner of 174 Smith Street. She's got a daughter, Lisa, 10 years old. Birthday is 10 January. Son Peter, 8 years old, birthday, etc. Now I get home. Obviously, I would possibly have written a lot more than that. I get home, I think, oh, yeah, if only I could just have this. Now I'm going to go and type everything over wherever I want it. Whether it's in my CRM or whatever. Maybe I want a Word document filed with that property, whatever it is. I don't want to go and type it all. No, just take a photo. There we are. Take a photo, pop it into ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT, quite simply, please read this image and convert it to typed text. And really, until very recently, actually, if you wanted a program that does this, you've got to pay a lot of money. You would need the full Adobe suite with optical character recognition, which you require for things like this. Now ChatGPT just does it for you for free. Please read the image and convert it to typed text. Did that perfectly. So now I could actually copy and paste that within ChatGPT. Did it perfectly. It even got the little scribble right of the 174 Smith Street, which you will obviously double check, but it did actually even get that right. Okay, so just think of the possibilities here. Again, I mean, no matter what you do, maybe you're taking notes at a seminar, 5 days in a row, and you've got this whole book of notes. You can convert it all to text. All right. Going a little bit more advanced, as we said, image recognition. Just now you saw, I mean, that ChatGPT can tell you exactly what type of window it is, what type of ceiling it is, what type of floor it is, what type of anything is really. Now imagine you're actually just busy with a listing. So this was still an old example, but you could now upload for one house. There's a whole lot of images for that house, upload them, and I simply say to ChatGPT, please describe the rooms in these images. That's all I said then. I wanted a description of the rooms. I didn't ask for anything fancy. Otherwise, I could say create a listing description based on what you see, etc. Okay, now imagine the detail that ChatGPT will see in these types of images. And it's even much better now than it was in this example because this was a while back. If it can see all those things, so it's going to be really, really accurate. You realize that. So this is, I'm actually just going to play, it's like a little video of me scrolling down on ChatGPT. So that I'm going to do quickly. So it'll now go and look at all those images and it'll describe them one by one for me. So it starts with the outside, describes exactly what it says on the exterior, nice clear lines and a neutral palette and all sorts of things. Every single living area, dining area, tells you what it sees. The braai room, it'll tell you about the braai and the cladding, and it tells you about the external doors, stacker doors that flow out to the garden. It tells you exactly what it sees. Different air conditioners, it'll tell you what it's got and whether it's got air conditioners in different rooms, etc. Describes everything in detail. So now, I mean, you've just got this. Just can you fathom how easy this is starting to make life for us? At the start, we were talking about writing listing descriptions. Now, actually, you're just feeding photos in, and you will be able to write a listing description. All right. Let's move on from that one. Now let's look at analyzing documents. Again, let your creative juices flow, but here's some very practical examples and real examples in my and Lydia's business that we use. These are also quite a while back already. We use it all the time. Okay, the main thing. So this was a home inspection report. Now, we had a seller, a very large, old property in Durbanville. and the seller didn't want any comebacks. It was really old, really large. He said, listen, I want a property condition report done by a professional, and I want to get given to all buyers, and I don't want anybody to say later on that there's something wrong with this house, and I didn't tell them. So that's what he did. He got a property condition report done by a professional. It was 66 pages. Now I thought, okay, now I'm going to have to be sending this to every single buyer afterwards. So I thought, well, okay, let's simplify it a bit. So I said to ChatGPT, please summarize this 66-page home inspection report. Please highlight all defects that may be of importance to buyers. Remember, whenever I send this, I'll always send them the full document anyway. But I just want a sort of a summary and see what ChatGPT says about it. So great, it carries on and it quickly inspects all 66 and it gives you the main things. Okay, so the roof has a couple of missing tiles and everything it finds in the report. Okay, it's basically summarizing for me now because that's what I asked it to do. There you go. Now I go and I say, okay, that's nice. Now from that summary, obviously for every single buyer I get, I'm going to be sending this and I'm going to send it on email. So please will you write a covering summary email referring to the attached report that I can send to any interested buyers. So just making my life easy and make me look professional, well-written email. Look at this. Now it says here, hi buyers, hi buyer. Thank you for your interest. Attached is a comprehensive home inspection report completed by an independent certified inspector. The report provides a factual overview of the condition of the property at the time of inspection. In summary, the home is generally in fair condition with several maintenance and repair items noticed. Remember, it's not making this up. This was all probably written in the report, but you'd have to go and find these words. And so it says, okay, there are some maintenance and repair noticed, like what with the roof and moisture and drainage and plumbing and electrical, etc. And at the end it says, and this is based again on what the finding was in there, these findings are typical for a home of its age and don't necessarily indicate major structural problems, but they do highlight areas of normal wear and tear and deferred maintenance that a new owner should plan to address. Please review the report carefully and feel free to contact me. Beautifully written. The buyer is going to think you're extremely professional, at least give him a summary, but he can still go through everything. And this just really looks good and professional, right? But it also lightens the blow than rather just saying, hey, here's a 66-page report. And he opens it and he just sees photos of missing tiles and stuff. And, you can miss the fine print where it actually says this is not so serious. Anyway, very, very good. Now, here's another example. Practical example, Lydia had a client that wanted to buy a property in Plettenberg Bay. We're in Durbanville. It's quite a way away, but nevertheless. So she lined up a whole lot of properties through one of our agents there and then planned to go there and show this client properties over a 3-day period. It was a whole lot of properties. Client was very specific, wanted to see properties in a specific area, the older areas of Plettenberg Bay, close to Robberg Beach, and etc. He's very specific. Okay, so they showed him all the properties over a period of 3 days. At the end, he was only interested in the one vacant stand that he could find in those areas because all the other houses, none of them really suited him. So he asked Lydia at the end of all those appointments, I like the vacant stand. I'm definitely interested in buying it. I'd just like to know exactly what it is I'm allowed to do there and what am I allowed to build there. So Lydia just sent me a WhatsApp. I was still in Durbanville. I quickly went to the Bito municipality, Plettenberg Bay municipality. Basically, I found the zoning bylaws, which is, again, I think it's hundreds of pages in a PDF. So these bylaws will tell you exactly what's allowed to be done on the property, but not on a specific, it tells you what's allowed to be done in the whole municipality for every type of property, be it agricultural, commercial, or residential. So it's got a whole lot of information in it. So I thought, okay, nice. Now I've got that. I can't just send that to the buyer, and I also can't necessarily read through the whole thing myself. So I said to ChatGPT, please read this document and summarize the building regulations specifically for single residential properties. Within seconds, basically, it did that. Gave me a whole summary specifically for single residential properties, tells you exactly what's allowed, everything, what the coverage and building lines is, and even for different earth sizes, you get different coverage, the amount of earth you're allowed to cover. Street lines, building lines, everything you can think of, everything's there, how you're allowed to place windows and doors, and so it carries on. Okay, so I thought, okay, that's very nice. Thank you, ChatGPT. That's a beautiful summary, but now I'm thinking to myself, out of all these hundreds of pages, this is what ChatGPT gives me, and now I'm wondering, is it correct? I mean, how do I know whether this is correct before I tell a buyer? And again, I'm not going to go and read all those pages. So I just simply said to ChatGPT, thank you. Can you please also provide the page numbers in the document where this info was found? Thought I was going to catch ChatGPT here. No problem. 2 seconds. Perfect. It says the information on single residential building regulations can be found on the following pages. So it tells me that the primary use and consent uses that I gave you are on page 40 and 41. That information is on page 61 and 62, and that information is on 104. Now I can quickly go into the document, go to those pages, see whether it was true what ChatGPT told me, and it was. And I said, oh, well, there you go. Thank you very much. So now I've really got the correct information. So now what I can do is I could actually just go and I'll copy all this information and send it to the buyer. But again, easier, be more professional. I asked ChatGPT, please draft an email to the purchaser with a summary provided and referencing the page numbers in the document. Just want to take a quick sip of water. Sorry. Thank you. Right, so please draft an email to the purchaser and tell him about this. Look at the professional email. Dear Mr. Smith, I hope you're doing well. As discussed, please find attached the BITO zoning laws, etc., which outline the building regulations for single residential properties in Plettenberg Bay. To make it easier for you, I've summarized the key regulations below, along with the page numbers where you can find more details in the attached document. And it gives all the information, again, as it gave it to me, with the page numbers, etc. So that is professional. Okay. This buyer did buy this earth, which was great because he had all the correct information. But what I always say is, what I said right at the start as well, is about creating, your communication with clients, getting ChatGPT to make that more impressive. If this guy had not bought this property, let's just say, and he bought something else through another agent, this email could possibly be the cause that when he actually sells that property in 5 years' time or something, that he possibly use me because he just thinks, yeah, this guy was professional. Hey, I mean, I wanted the regulations. Within 10 minutes, I was hardly at my hotel room after the appointments, and I had this in my email. Anyway, so just the case in point as well. It's not just about getting the work done. It's also, this is lead generation. This is lead nurturing for the future. All right. Apart from that, when he does eventually sell one day, in any case, even though he did buy from us, I don't think he's going to look around because he remembers the experience. Okay. Analyzing screenshots, we'll just run through this quickly. Almost same as analyzing photos. Let's just say you're busy on your computer, you're busy with something and you're getting stuck and you don't know what to do. So whatever, you're in a program, you're in Microsoft Word, you're in Excel, you don't know what to do, the formulas are not, graphs are not working, whatever. Instead of, again, trying to find videos or other people who had the same problem online, etc., simply take a screenshot of what you're busy with. Okay. In this case, a very simple example is just for an example. I'm busy, so we've all got access to Canva Pro at EXP. So we use it a lot. So let's just say there was a very simple design, a nice just sold design. And then I thought, okay, wait, let me drag our photo in there as well. And I dragged the photo in, and oh dear, now it's got a white background, so it covers the whole thing. I think, there must be a way to remove the background so that, it won't be. Anyway, rather than go into Canva's help files or go and find information or try and Google it or whatever, I really just took a screenshot. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, then just take a photo of it and upload it to ChatGPT. I simply uploaded this to ChatGPT, this screenshot. And I said, how do I remove the background from my profile picture? What was very interesting, you only realize these things afterwards sometimes. I didn't say, I am busy in Canva Pro. I just said, how do I remove the background from my profile picture? ChatGPT went and analyzed this whole thing, looked at the top address, realized this was Canva. Okay, so he knew, okay, we're talking about Canva. How do I remove the background? Quickly goes and finds all the information, comes back. It tells me exactly what I must do. It tells me, there, click on the photo, do this, do that, do the next thing. And within seconds, it was done and resized, and there you go. Okay, that's just an example. This was another example that I use. Pretty much like the forms that you used when you registered for this webinar. So I use Google Forms. And in another instance, I wanted to share one of my forms with someone else so they could also see who's registering for webinars, etc. And I came across this part and I didn't know, what permission must I give the person, for instance? Must they be a viewer, or must they be a commenter, or must they be an editor? Just took a screenshot, stuck it into ChatGPT, tells me exactly what would happen if I chose viewer, then this is what the person, etc., etc. Okay. Point is, screenshot what you're battling with. Okay, as I said, Canva is, I mean, yeah, it's the benchmark of design, I believe, going forward in any industry. So we all use Canva, as I've mentioned before. Now, apart from being able to use Canva and create stuff, you can use Canva in conjunction with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT can just sort of make it even more productive. I'll use one or two examples quickly of using ChatGPT with Canva. Take an example. Let's just say, again, I've got some ideas from ChatGPT, and I thought, well, let's make some social media posts. So let's just say, for instance, this is what I'm going to explain here is how you can create bulk content quickly. So like 40 posts that you can drip over a couple of weeks, etc. So I'll say, for instance, here's an example. Create a series of social media posts about X, Y, Z, whatever you came up with or whatever ChatGPT helped you. So I want a series of posts. Then I'm going to export all that to an Excel file, which you've seen ChatGPT does do for you. Then I'm going to import the Excel file into Canva Pro's bulk create function. Okay. And that will then create a whole series of posts in minutes, just like it. So here's an idea. So let's say I said to ChatGPT, please create a series of social media posts about the selling process. Okay. It created all the posts. So here you'll see a whole series. It starts and with descriptions, but let's just go over the headings. So it starts with selling doesn't have to be stressful, then know the market before you list, then choose the right agent, then get to know your home, etc. Those beautiful posts, etc. Then I said, please put them into an Excel file. There it did that. Now I took that Excel file into Canva Pro, and used the bulk create function. And within minutes, you're just going to quickly learn how to do that. And then within minutes, it gave me all those posts that you saw over there in separate images. Okay, only difference is I had to now choose a background image. And in this case, I chose the same image for every single post. Reason being, this is a series, right? It's the selling process. So first you must, takes the buyer through a sort of a process. So I thought, let's keep the image the same, right? So that was easy. Here's another example. I said to ChatGPT, please create a series of social media posts just with sort of quotes, real estate quotes. And it came up with a whole lot. You use the ones you like. It says, quote number 1, sold isn't just a sign, it's a celebration. And then it has a nice little caption with that. Post number 2, owning a home is a keystone of wealth, both financial. Anyway, a whole lot of posts. There we go. And then I asked, in this case, I didn't want to use the same image for everyone, obviously, because it's all different quotes. So I also asked ChatGPT to give me an image suggestion, as you'll see on the right. So for post number 1, it said, okay, you want an image of hands holding champagne glasses. For post number 2, you want close-up of house keys on a contract. Post number 3 is rolling heels, etc. Okay, so there's the result. But I'm going to tell you now about the images. So there it is. Sold signs. Okay, so every single one of those posts is now on a separate image. The only difference now is I wanted to put a background image on each one that is different. And as I said, ChatGPT had given me the image suggestions. Now, in the past, what you would have to do, you'd have to go to somewhere where you can get free images, like Pixabay or whatever, and you would actually going to have to go and search for something that looks like that. It's very time-consuming, but nevertheless, you would get free images and you would use them. Now, I simply ask, and you're going to see this later, so I'm preempting it a bit. You simply ask ChatGPT to create every single image for you. So I asked ChatGPT, create hands holding champagne glasses, create close-up of house keys on a contract, and you'll see the first 3. There's the hands. This image was created by ChatGPT. There's the keys, close-up of keys on a contract. There's the rolling heels. All these images were created. So now suddenly you're using ChatGPT's creativity together with Canva Pro, and you're creating things at scale. Okay. ChatGPT went next level, right? It now connects to various apps. So if you have a Canva Pro account, for instance, you can give ChatGPT access to that account if you want, and login details, etc. And then you ask it to create images. So let's just say here, now you'll see it says at Canva. So it just means I've already created my, attached my Canva account to ChatGPT. So when I start with at Canva, it knows, okay, now we're talking Canva. And I say, please create an image. This was actually recently. Please create an image that I can use with my Facebook post about the risks of not being aware of capital gains tax. And also add our contact details and use blue tone. So I want a sort of a bluish image that I can use with my Facebook post about capital gains tax. Okay. Now the difference is it creates a whole lot of images, which you'll see there, but these are now not static images. So in other words, if I didn't like an image, you would have to ask ChatGPT to create it again. This is not the case. It has now created a Canva template for me. So I can click on any one of those and it'll open up in my Canva and everything will be editable and replaceable. So I can change the text, I can change the image, etc. Okay, so I asked it to create it. Then when I click on the image, basically it takes me into Canva. There you go. So I could now, every single thing here is now editable. So that is a text box. That is a text box. This is an image I can replace, etc. Okay, so again, it's just going next level. Now you ask for things like that. It creates a template and it opens it up for you in Canva and you can change it even further if you want. Right, getting very, very productive when you're thinking of all this AI stuff. And even Canva has its own AI as well. But I mean, okay, we're not talking Canva now. Okay, ChatGPT and your digital business card or whatever you want to call it. So we should all have at least some sort of a presence out there, a link you could send someone. We'll call it a digital business card. And that must look professional. Now, just with everything we've seen now, I'll show you an example. So now you're using ChatGPT for your biography, which you can put on this digital business card. You're using ChatGPT to help with your listing descriptions, which are going to be on your digital business card. You're using ChatGPT to create content. So you could create a blog or articles on your digital business card. Okay, so we all use PropCom, but this is actually our microsites at EXP. So each agent gets a microsite. You'll see this one is EXP, South Africa /Lydia. It's Lydia's own microsite. And I'm just going to run through this just so all I'm saying is how things start to come together to create a professional image for you. So I'm going to play this as just a video of me scrolling around on the thing quickly. So here you'll see, did I click it? Yes. There you go, you scroll down, you're going to get the listings. As I said, obviously beautiful listing descriptions in there created by ChatGPT. Carry down, there's just a short write-up. There's a whole about us page as well, separate. So that would be with ChatGPT. Anyway, all sorts of stuff. Hopefully, yeah, it's almost there. Obviously has all our social media links, but that's got nothing to do with this. Then up there, we've got a blog. So I can create articles that I can put out and send to people all the time. Now, these are things that can be created using ChatGPT, right? Content, create some content about certain topics, put them on your digital business card or on your microsite or whatever you want to call it. And so that's basically it. I mean, yeah, using ChatGPT just to make sure you're looking professional all over. So there's the whole article created by ChatGPT. In my case, I make videos of these things, but nevertheless, and these are actually not created by ChatGPT because they were created years ago by me. Anyway, that's off the point. So you're getting the idea, right? That's just that part. Now, creating images. So you saw just now, just didn't show you how it works, but images created for those bulk Canva things, and all those images were created by ChatGPT. But let's have a look at it in practice. Here's an example. So the more detail you give, obviously, the more detailed the photo is going to be. This is just a simple example, but still there's quite a bit of detail in there, and it's going to be interesting to see how ChatGPT interprets it all. So I said here, please create a realistic photo. Please create a realistic photo image of a luxurious glass-fronted house with a lush garden and a modern pool with the Cape Winelands in the background at sunrise. So maybe I'm just going to be creating a Facebook post. It's not to advertise a specific house, because obviously I won't be creating an image. Just something that's attractive. Okay, but anyway, the point is to see how it works. And this is what ChatGPT created. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, it looks so realistic. But just look at the detail. I mean, I asked for a luxurious glass-fronted house. There it is. I said a lush garden. This is definitely lush. And a modern pool. Beautiful modern pool. And with the Cape Winelands in the background. Cape Winelands, they're the vineyards. I mean, to top it all off, I didn't even ask for it, but to make sure we know it's the Cape Winelands, those are the Boerland Mountains in the background. And then I did say at sunrise, and this is at sunrise. And that is actually east, which is where the Boerland Mountains are. This is quite amazing. Anyway, so there's just an example. Right. Just another example. I usually use this one as a fun example at our EXP webinars, because one of our slogans is "We're the future of real estate." So I say, well, you never know what we're going to be selling next. So let's ask ChatGPT, create an image of a spaceship that has landed on the ocean with Cape Town in the background on a bright, partly cloudy day with a futuristic real estate agent on top of it. Look at the detail ChatGPT comes up with. There you go. I mean, that's definitely Cape Town in the background. There's no two ways about it. It's definitely Cape Town. So on the ocean, that's we have. A spaceship, definitely we have. On the ocean, with Cape Town in the background, that's Cape Town. On a bright, partly cloudy day. I didn't say a sunny day. I didn't say a cloudy day. I said a partly cloudy day. That's partly cloudy. And with a futuristic real estate agent on top of it, that's pretty futuristic. And just to make sure you know that this person is a estate agent, there's the for sale sign. Okay. So you see the type of detail, and the more detail you get, the more detail you'll even receive back. So you can create anything these days. Manipulating images. So taking existing images and changing them. Again, in the past, you need such expensive software to do these types of things. Creating images, we just talked about. I mean, that was pretty much impossible for anybody normal to do. But now manipulating images as well. So let's just take this. You go to a seller. You're supposed to do photographs on Saturday, and when you arrive there, this is what it looks like. And the seller promised you everything would be ready. Anyway, he tells you, listen, really, I promise you, I've just put 5 bags of chocolate in. It'll be ready by Tuesday. It'll be blue, 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 blue. So you think, okay, well, great. Take the photos anyway. Go to ChatGPT. Say, please change the pool's water to sparkling blue. And there you go. So original sparkling blue, there you go. So it's manipulating like a master editor. Another example, this house had a hole in the ground, and the guy hadn't decided yet what pool to put in, funny enough, or he was at 2 minds still. So you just help him, hey? So you go home and you be the clever one. So I said to ChatGPT, please create a modern design for a pool for the hole that has been dug as in the photo. Don't change anything on the existing buildings. I always say that. Otherwise, maybe ChatGPT will get a bit creative and put on a new roof as well. But I want that. Keep everything the same. I just want a pool there. Even if there wasn't a hole, you can say, here's the back garden. Give me some ideas where we can put a pool and what it could look like. Okay, just here we go. I mean, I asked for a few examples, and there we go. There's the one example. There's the other example. You can ask for many, many examples. And the best thing is, so you can give this to your client, and he suddenly thinks, geez, these oaks are just next level. Hey? I just mentioned I want to put in the pool, and it's got nothing to do with them really, but here are some ideas. Okay, the best thing is ChatGPT is so intelligent now. If you say, I want this one, I like this one, what do I need to do? It'll tell you that. It'll even cost it for you. Okay. Anyway, typical staging, right? Staging empty houses. Now, we're allowed to stage places with furniture, obviously, because it's like taking photos when there's furniture in and then the person moves out. And then when people go and look at the house, it's empty. So you're not changing the building. That's very important. Mustn't change anything on the structure, but you can add furniture. So this is a very simple example. Can you furnish this room without making changes to the actual walls or floor or any part of the structure? Again, very important, because you mustn't change the structure, because then people can say later, but this is not what you showed in the photos. Okay, so, and I just said modern lounge furniture. I wasn't very specific. Nevertheless, there it was. So what I do now is I just quickly go and compare the photos, and I make sure the light fitting's the same, ceiling's the same, tiles are the same, everything's the same, the railings outside. So great, it was very clear with my instructions. It didn't change the actual structure at all, and it's made it look more attractive for marketing purposes. So wonderful. So you can do house staging now as well. You don't need professional editors or anything like that. I'm just having another quick sip here. Right, amazing, incredible. Okay, moving on. Another example. I'm laboring it a bit, but I mean, you must just realize how much you can do and how this can help you in your business. Here's a backyard. I'll say to ChatGPT, in this case, please fully modernize this outdoor entertainment area. And I want you to create 2 images. One at dusk or a nighttime image, and then one show what it would look like on a bright sunny day. So I wanted to make a change and then show me what it would look like at night and in the day. Okay, and here it went. There's a day photo of its suggestion. If I don't like it, I obviously say, no, I don't like that. Give me more suggestions. And the same one at night. Beautiful. I mean, again, whether you're doing this for a client, giving them ideas, you can give them more ideas than this, or even for your own house. But think of this in any way, whether you're inside and looking at the kitchen and you want ideas, what can you do with this space to modernize the kitchen or whatever. ChatGPT, it's next level. Okay, it's just getting better. That was just a bit of a tongue in cheek. We were actually I was doing a presentation at EXP's roadshow in Umhlanga Rocks. So Andrew is our South African CEO of EXP, and he was obviously there. He actually lives in Umhlanga Rocks. Anyway, so I simply, just for fun, I put Andrew's photo into ChatGPT as well as the EXP logo, because I'm referencing both of those in my prompt. And I said, please turn Andrew into a superhero flying over Umhlanga Rocks with the EXP Realty logo on his chest. And there we go. Everybody had a very good chuckle, but it was just so good. I mean, there's Andrew, there's the EXP Realty logo. He's definitely a superhero. That's the Umhlanga Lighthouse, and this is definitely what Umhlanga looks with a promenade. We were having this presentation. I mean, when I put this photo up, everybody just looked to the right, because through the windows is the lighthouse. And it actually happens to be the place even that Andrew not so long ago proposed to his wife, and he had lights shining on the lighthouse at night, etc. Anyway, so it was actually quite personal but fun. It just gives you another idea. Well, we've all seen all sorts of things these days, so you can put your photo in there and make you appear in different scenarios. All right, moving on swiftly now. Now we're getting to voice interaction with ChatGPT. This is where it also starts getting very, very interesting, and it makes you really, really productive. So basically, you can talk to ChatGPT in various ways. Okay, firstly, you could talk to ChatGPT if you wanted to convert what you're saying into text. So everything you've been seeing up to now, we've typed into ChatGPT. Okay, so if you want to do that, but you don't want to actually type because it takes you long, you can speak to ChatGPT and make it convert it to text, so it's as though you typed it. All right. Otherwise, you can actually, there's another function, it's a different function, where you can have a voice conversation with ChatGPT. So you can speak to ChatGPT and ChatGPT will speak back. Very handy, because now you don't have to even be looking at the screen. You could even be in your car on a 1-hour trip, and you start the conversation and it will not stop until you stop it. So you can have conversations and ChatGPT will chat back to you, and you can talk about anything you can think of. Okay, and then you can even these days, while you're talking to ChatGPT, you can activate your camera and say, as though you're with a friend that's next to you, right? I mean, you're speaking to your friend next to you, and you say, hey, look at that over there. Now you say to ChatGPT, activate the camera. So while we're chatting ChatGPT, yes, look at that over there. What do you think of that, or whatever? Okay. So we're going to look at these things quickly. Just before we do, I just want to explain what the different buttons look like. So this is on your mobile, but it's also available on your PC, which you'll see just now. Although I don't think on all plans. Here, the paid part comes into things. Not everything is available on the free plans, but nevertheless. So on the right here, you'll see two buttons. The one I've marked with a blue arrow, which looks like a microphone, that's the one you would use if you just want to convert your speech to text. So you want it to be as though you're typing, but you're going to say quite a lot, so you don't want to type that much. So you speak to ChatGPT, and then when you hit the button, it'll convert it to text. The other one, which looks like a bit of a sound wave, which I've shown there with a green arrow, that is when you press that one, it's going to go into voice mode, real voice, audible mode. So you will be speaking to ChatGPT, ChatGPT will be speaking back. Okay. So I think first off, this is video. Just in case later we don't, it's because you need quite good connectivity. It's going to all work, but I'm just going to play this recording for you. So this was just a recording of me chatting to ChatGPT on my mobile. And I always have this just as a backup in case connectivity where I'm doing presentations is not so good. But anyway, so I hope you hear this. This is just a recording of a conversation. Oh, come on, ChatGPT, be honest now. Is it really possible that Lydia is always... I'm going to make sure we got enough volume there, sorry. Is it really possible that Lydia is always right and I'm always wrong?
Oh, I'm no relationship expert, but I'd say Lydia's right 99.9% of the time. And that 0.1%, well, that's just when she's agreeing with you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for nothing.
Need a help. If you ever need a pick-me-up or a bit of fun, I'm just a chat away.
Thanks so much, ChatGPT. I always say Lydia is in cahoots with ChatGPT. I think when I'm sleeping at night, she takes my phone and she and ChatGPT are in cahoots, and she tells ChatGPT certain things. Anyway, just a bit of fun there. Now, what we'll do, let's need to move on from this quickly. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go to a new chat. I'm going to do this one on my PC, and then just now I'm going to switch over to phone because we're going to be using the camera, etc. So what I'm going to do here is use the little microphone button, which you see there, right? So the microphone button is to convert speech to text. So I don't want to chat to ChatGPT, and I want you speaking back at me in this case, but I want to not have to type everything out. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm even going to just make it a real estate related case so you can again see the advice that ChatGPT gives back. So it's a sort of a double whammy that we're covering here. So I've actually written it out here so that I don't fumble around over my words. So let's just say I say to ChatGPT, right, so I'm going to activate that microphone. Hi, ChatGPT. I sent my seller a low offer on his property. He was very disgusted that I sent him such an insulting offer. Please help me to draft a polite but factual reply to my seller, explaining that I have a duty to take and present all offers to him. Also add that sometimes buyers make cheeky offers to try their luck, but then they end up paying a fair price in the end. So we need to give it some thought and decide together how we're going to best respond to the buyer. Now I just click the right mark. Now it's converting it into text, as I said. So there it is. Okay, now you just read it through and make sure it's correct. I'm not going to do that now. So you saw what I asked now. Okay, right. I said, I've got a problem. I've got this, you know, when you send a seller a low offer, you've all been there, and they're very upset and actually impolite and rude to you because how could you give them such a stupid offer? What do you think? You know the feeling, and yet it's not us that's making the offer. Anyway, so instead of me replying to the seller, of course, on his rude remark, I'd probably say the wrong thing. I give ChatGPT the scenario. So I've just demonstrated the voice to text, really. But let's just in any case see what the advice comes back as. So I'm saying, please, I mean, what can I say to the seller? So it says, of course, this is a very common and very human reaction from sellers. So the tone needs to acknowledge his feelings while calmly reinforcing your professional duty. Below is a polite, factual, and reassuring reply that you can send. It keeps things professional, diffuses emotion, and positions you as a steady advisor rather than something defending the buyer. That's exactly what I want to do, but I wouldn't know how, because I'm also emotional. How could this go? Anyway, okay, here we go. So let's see. It says, hi, seller's name. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I completely understand why the offer feels disappointing and frustrating. I do just want to clarify my role and responsibility in this process. As your agent, I'm legally and ethically obliged to receive and present all offers to you regardless of the amount. My intention in doing so is never to offend or undermine the value of your property, but simply ensure that you are fully informed. It's also worth bearing in mind that some buyers do start with what we would call a try your luck or a cheeky offer. But in many cases, these initial offers are not where the transaction ends up. Once a dialogue starts, buyers often move closer to a fair and realistic price, especially when they receive a clear, well-considered response. At this stage, there's no pressure to accept anything that doesn't make sense. I do suggest that we take a moment to consider the best way to respond and decide together on a strategy that protects your position and keeps us in control of the negotiation. I'm here to guide you through this and make sure. Okay, so we were actually just demonstrating the speech to text, but just look at that again. I mean, I could never have said that better. I'm all emotional and upset because the seller is rude to me. And there you go. I mean, after this, again, the seller is going to be meek and mild, and he realizes you've got his best interest at heart. It's not you that made the offer, and let's rather tackle this in the correct way. Okay, that was very good. Now we're going to go to voice conversations, but that I'm going to do on the phone. So yeah, you can think out of the box here. I just want to go to a new chat there, so that's the way. Okay. So now, let me see whether people can actually see me. Where's my camera? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Okay, there. I just want to see. Okay, so you can see I'm going to go on my phone now. You can look at the small camera. Going to go on my phone, going to go into ChatGPT. Let's just make sure the volume is up. So I'm just going to say, hi, ChatGPT, and start a conversation. Then, I don't know, you can just think out of the box. We'll maybe ask ChatGPT to role play with us. Okay, how's about that? Anything. But you can have a conversation, as I said, climb in the car, start with "Ooh, ChatGPT, I'm nearly forgotten. When I get home, I've got to do an assignment for my son for grade 7 biology photosynthesis." And in the meantime, ChatGPT will tell you all about it. What you're going to see later is you can actually go later and it will be there in text for you to copy and paste. Okay, but so you can do that, and then you say, "Oh, and while we're chatting again, I don't know what to make for dinner tonight." And so you can, and then you say, "Oops, now I'm nearly, you know what? Here's the seller's house. Please help me with this or that or the next thing quickly, or I've got to whatever." All right. Let's have a look. I'm just going to say whatever. Volume up. I hope you can hear everything. You can throw thumbs up when you can hear me. Hello, ChatGPT.
Hi, Andre. Lovely to hear your voice. How can I help you today?
No, I was just wondering how it's going, and if you can tell me what the weather is going to be like on Saturday in Cape Town, because I'm thinking of going out a bit.
This Saturday in Cape Town, expect some rain in the early morning with temperatures around 16 degrees Celsius. By midday, clouds will start to break and the afternoon should be mostly sunny with highs around 18 degrees. The evening will remain mild and partly sunny, so the afternoon looks like your best time to head out.
Thank you. Listen, okay, I'm actually arriving at a seller's house now. I've got a bit of a problem. Not really a problem, but I don't know how to handle it. So what we're talking about here is I listed this seller's property at 3.5 million rand about 4 weeks ago. That was not my valuation. My valuation was much lower. And now I really need to suggest to the seller that we're not getting the reaction we need. Anyway, would you maybe be able to role play with me so that I just make it difficult to sort of what I can expect the seller to ask me?
Of course, Andre. I'm happy to step into the seller's shoes. You can lead with how you'd normally start that conversation, and I'll respond as the seller might. Let's go for it.
Okay, let's say your name is John. Hi, John. Listen, it's been 4 weeks now that we've been marketing your property. As you know, I did suggest a bit of a lower price initially. Now, the reaction has not been that good. So I really do suggest that we should lower the price to 3 million rand and see that we can get more buyers through the door.
Well, Andre, I'm quite surprised to hear that. You were confident we'd get interest at 3.5 million. How do I know we're not leaving money on the table if we drop it now?
Ooh, ChatGPT, that's a difficult question you gave me from the seller. What would you suggest I actually answer?
You could reassure them with facts. Acknowledge the initial optimism, but explain that the market ultimately speaks. If buyers aren't responding at that level, holding out could delay the sale and cost them opportunities. Emphasize that the new price reflects current realities, aiming for real buyer traction.
Okay, I've ended that conversation. You're getting the idea. I mean, I'm just talking about having any conversation, right? I mean, you're on a road trip with your kids. Put this on and tell ChatGPT you need to play a trivia game or something and whatever. And ChatGPT will even keep score. Just think out the box. Okay, but I mean, this was in our real life situation. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also start a conversation. Let me just start a new chat. Start a conversation. And I'm going to show you how you can activate the camera. And then wherever you are, depending what you're doing, you could activate the camera and in real time show ChatGPT whatever you want to see and ask it about it. Okay, so I'm just going to think out the box here. Let me just move these things along. Okay. Hello, ChatGPT.
Hello, Andre. Great to hear from you. What's on your mind today? Property, tech, or something else entirely?
Okay, so I have just activated my camera. Can you see what I'm showing you?
Yes, I can see your workspace. Everything looks pretty organized with your multiple screens. What would you like me to help with based on what you're showing?
Actually, I want you to help me with my printer. So I don't know if you can see what model that is.
I can see your printer on the side, but I can't read the model number from here.
Okay.
If you can move the camera a bit closer or let me know the brand and any model name you see on it.
Okay, I'm going to
help.
try quickly move it closer.
Sure, take your time. Once it's in view, I'll let you know if I can read it clearly.
Okay, it's in view now.
Perfect. I can see it now. That's an HP DeskJet Plus Ink Advantage 6475. What would you like to troubleshoot or set up with it?
Yeah, I'm just having, suddenly the Wi-Fi is not connecting, or it's not connecting to the Wi-Fi. And I don't want to read the instruction manual. What should I do?
A quick fix to try is to restart both your printer and your Wi-Fi router. Once both are back on, you can use the printer's control panel to reconnect it to your network.
Okay, guys, that was I think a good indication. Can you see where these things are going? Can you now imagine? So earlier we put in photos of a listing. Now you can see at the moment, you even on the paid plan, you are capped with the amount of this you can do with your camera activated. But just think going forward, you actually just really just going to open up your phone and walk through a listing. You're not even going to be taking photos apart from professional photos, yes. But when you walk through, even just at valuation stage or whatever, you're going to just walk through and activate your camera, and it's going to tell you afterwards exactly what it saw, and it's going to describe the whole. This is where things are going. You just need to be able to converse with AI and converse with ChatGPT, and that's the point of today, is to get you comfortable so that you can move onwards and onwards and onwards. Okay, so again. I just need to get back to the slideshow. Where are we now? Okay, there we go. Right. So, as I said, when you're using your phone or your laptop, there's cross-device continuity. So if you logged in with the same account, whatever you do on your phone, you'll later be able to see on your PC. Whatever you do on your PC, you'll later be able to see on your phone. Okay. And what I'm also going to show you now, just quickly, let's just go there. I'm going to refresh. Remember, now we were busy on the phone. Now, I'm going to just refresh my browser where I've got ChatGPT open. And we're going to go and look at the actual chats down the bottom here. Here we go. Right, so what was that? Just want to quickly see which was which. Right, so this is the one we actually did on the PC where I was getting it to transcribe my text, where I said about the low offer. This one, greeting exchange, let's just see where it starts. This is where I asked about the weather, right? So this was a voice conversation. Now you'll see it looks a little bit different so that you know it was a voice conversation. It's in inverted commas, right? Like it looks like a conversation. But the point is it's now here. And anything ChatGPT tells you, you can again go and copy and paste. All right, so we asked about the weather, and then I said, okay, now I'm arriving at the seller's house. Please help me with role playing. And great, here's the whole role playing. Here it said this and that, and then what I said, and then what ChatGPT said. So it is still here. So anything you ask it property related while you're on the road or whatever on a voice chat, you again can go and copy and paste later on or whatever. Okay, so that's great. Let's go back here again. And now we're really, really, really moving along swiftly, almost done. Firstly, just a little bit of fun. I was going to show you. So what I did here is I asked ChatGPT to create a song, lyrics, right? Nice lyrics about real estate agents, because we are so misunderstood creatures and we have such multifaceted jobs and everything. So I asked ChatGPT to create me some nice lyrics. Then what I did is created beautiful lyrics. Then what I did is I went and converted it into a song. Now that you can do at a website called suno.com. That's suno.com. Okay. So what I did, again, here we go. I just said to ChatGPT, I want to create this song. We're going to read through the whole thing about our role as real estate agents, etc. It must be a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor about the many roles we expected to play and so on. And then ChatGPT created the beautiful lyrics for me. I then went on to suno.com and got it to create the song for me, which I am going to play for you. Right, I'm just going to share the correct screen now again. Here we go. Present something else. Agent song. Okay, let's just tell me that you can hear everything when it starts playing. I was going to go over to that tab. Okay.
We're part-time shrinks and marriage guides. We juggle dreams and moving tides. We fix the lights, fluff all the beds, then talk some sense in buyers' heads. We stage with style, we scrub and sweep, and give advice for free, not cheap. We're tour guides, planners, child entertainers. We deal with cats, alarms, and angry neighbors. We calm the nerves, we pour the tea, and act like therapists professionally. We know the laws, the cracks, the zones, and still reply when you text our phones. We chase approvals, figure docs, explain what suits and climbing costs, negotiate like pros with flair while sellers change the price mid-air. We dodge delays and pray each day, may the buyer's bond come through. We say we know the laws, the cracks, the songs, and still reply when you text our phones. We chase approvals, figure docs, explain what suits and climbing costs, negotiate like pros with flair while sellers change the price mid-air. We dodge delays and pray each day, may the buyer's bond come through. We say, oh, we do it all and still look grand, smile on our face, contract in hand. From morning show to late night call, we're agents, baby, we do it all. And just remember, with all that flair, we only get paid if you get there.
Here we go. Tribute to all you wonderful real estate agents, including myself. All right, that was just a bit of fun, and we're really nearing the end. Let's go back to this. Okay, so I mean, you've seen so much today already, and I hope that this has sort of been instrumental in taking you from not using ChatGPT to actually being able to use it a lot. Just start using it. That's the big thing. I mean, going forward, these are future webinars we will be having at some stage. I'm using these things on a daily basis. It just becomes so productive. I mean, when you look at the advanced features, more advanced features of ChatGPT, where you create custom GPTs made for specific tasks. I can send my custom GPT that I've created for my sellers. I send them that link. They go on there, they ask any property related question, and it answers them as though it's me and doesn't tell them any nonsense, which is fine. Anyway, all specifically instructed sort of GPTs for a specific purpose. The same as if you've got repetitive tasks that you do all the time. Maybe you create videos every week and things. Instead of going and having to prompt it every single time or what exactly it wants to do, you create a custom GPT with all the instructions in, and every time you just go there and you just say, here's a new idea, and it does the whole lot. Okay, I know I'm waffling. Agent mode, I mean, setting up this, they're calling it agentic intelligence these days. So it's not agent as in real estate agent, it's as in AI agent. And this is where you start giving, almost like we did with Canva, you give ChatGPT access to your Canva. You can give ChatGPT access to almost anything. So you can create various agents that do different jobs. So let's just say you could create an agent and you give it access to various things. So you say, okay, listen, in the last week of the month on Monday, go and access my spreadsheet on my Google Drive, this specific spreadsheet. See what's been happening there, and then take that data and compile a report saying what's been happening in our sales for the month or whatever. Then take that report and convert it into a beautiful email. Then go to my Outlook contacts and select John and Peter and Mary and the CEO of the company and send them an email with this report with a beautiful draft. That type of thing. It's like a whole thing. So you just go and check eventually and it's all been done. You can have little agents doing all sorts of little tasks for you. Projects is simply like we were doing today, but you actually group things into projects on ChatGPT so they don't get all mixed up. This is the project about creating whatever. Okay, and so on. Deep research, connectors, we've spoken about. It's just going very fast. But if you use ChatGPT, then you tend to at least sort of keep up. Okay, it's very important to just use it. That's the big thing. All right. And this is just an example, I mean, where it's also going, or it's already went. This is our virtual office, my and Lydia's personal virtual office in EXP world. Every agent is allowed to create themselves an office like it. And in there, I've got a chatbot. That is basically like a custom GPT. This chatbot is trained. I've uploaded all my video scripts. I've uploaded various laws and the PPRA Act and things like that into this thing. And I said, when people ask you a question, you do not go to the internet and find rubbish You ignore the internet and you only focus on all the documents I've given you and all my video scripts, which is master. And then you answer them. And if you cannot answer them, that's a lead generation. Then you say, oh, and I'm not qualified to answer that question. I'm going to get Andre to contact you. Just give us your contact number, whatever. Now, I send my clients, there's a simple link. Send my clients over here. They go and have fun. They're wandering around, especially all the younger clients, right? And they're getting young. They're starting to buy. They wander around there, it's great, and they have conversations, and eventually I do actually get leads from there because people say, yes, no, this is lovely, this is non-obtrusive, I'm getting a lot of information, please get Andre to contact me, I want evaluation or whatever. Anyway, this is where things are just moving very, very fast. We've spoken pretty much about this, but this is where it's all going very, very quickly. Chatbots, etc., smart customer service tools, advanced virtual environments, but all this starts with using AI and getting comfortable with it. Okay, that's basically that. I'm going to be having a webinar on Friday due to various requests. So I'm following on with from our ChatGPT webinars. People have asked what type of systems, other systems do we use overall in our business? So that's what I'm doing on Friday. I'm going to be chatting about all the systems we use, complete lead generation systems, AI-based systems, etc., from start to finish for our business workflow, basically. So if you'd like to, let me see if I will get that link quickly. I'll put the link in the chat box if you want to register for that. Just give me one moment. That'd be on Friday. Chat box. There's the link. You should be able to just click on it and register. Anyway, yeah, so that's on Friday. If you're interested, you can come and see everything we use in our business. All right. And that's basically it from me. Yeah, that's it from me. So I hope that was informative. I always found it fun every single time. Pretty much the same presentation. Sometimes I tweak things at the end, more advanced things, because this is based to take people from zero to hero. Okay, I really do hope that was of help. I'm going to wish you well and a very successful week.